Hello there. Just wanted to jump in here because I had a bit of a interaction yesterday that perfectly outlines a lot of different things on a lot of different levels here. And I just wanted to float it out there because seeing it happen a lot, like it's always happened a lot, and I've always been a sucker for it, I've got to tell you. So it's no surprise that it keeps finding me, but I'm learning. Anyway, I'll just start where I start. So the person who initiated me talking about all of this other stuff, because this is just the trigger for talking about a lot of other stuff, the person who initiated it is probably going to see this because they're probably subscribed to my channel. I think definitely they are. You get lovers and haters when you jump on social media, apparently. Made some comments on someone else's channel, and this person took, just because it was me, and it's like, how come you're saying that? You say this in other places. How come you're as if the idea of like, I believe that you can walk through a wall because the wall is frequency and your body is frequency, and so I actually believe it's possible to walk through a wall. I can't walk through a wall, and somehow that's not allowed. Like, I absolutely believe that you can synthesize protein from breathing air in your body. But I'm also eating meat. I don't know if I'm getting protein from meat or not. Like, I couldn't care less about blood tests and types, and like, I used to be very all for the figures and the facts and that, and it's all bullshit. It's all just a story, right? So I just really couldn't care less about that stuff. But you can't, apparently those two things are mutually exclusive. You can't say one thing and say the other thing. It's like, but what are you, just manufacturing stories here? And, this kind of, I don't think it'd matter. Like, it doesn't seem, it's just a gotcha. It's just like you're a charlatan. You're charging people money for sessions, trauma clearing sessions, or whatever. Like, as if I'm on here like every 3 days pumping a business or hashtagging the shit out of everything on my huge channels, as if I haven't been like shadow banned on every media thing for talking about medical tyranny, government tyranny, educational tyranny. Like, I don't know. But it's not about that. You can see that it's not that sort of like, I'm going to come at you no matter what. It's about coming at you. That's what it's about. It's about antagonism. And a lot of people are feeling pretty antagonized and antagonistic just at the moment. Like, everyone, the pressure's pretty high, right? The thumb screws are getting wound and they're not stopping. So everyone's kind of feeling this. But still in all, like, if you're an adult and you're in control of what's going on to some degree of your own perceptions and how you behave with people, if you're coming at someone like that, even just in your head, then either, like, the best benefit of the doubt is you're just really lost, like everyone is mostly in here, or you're working for the controllers, like, because you're just generating energy. So, like, one thing this person took a bit of umbrage to me saying was that this place is a farm. Like, oh, Hamish, are you black-pilled now? Maybe they're not subscribed to this channel, although I think they were, I don't know how many times I have to say it, but louder for the people in the back, I suppose. Since the penny dropped for me, re-dropped for me, because the penny had dropped as a child, and I kind of fluffed over it when I became an adult or a teenager. The penny re-dropped for me around the end of 2011. This is, well, no, I won't even say that. I won't say this is a farm. We are being farmed. Doesn't have to be a farm. This place doesn't have to be a farm for us to be getting farmed. We are getting farmed. There is no two ways about it. if you think you're not, then when you have a craving for a donut or a piece of bread or a piece of chicken or a potato, or do you actually think your body's saying, I need potato? Could be. Could also be the parasites in your stomach farming you for food, because they can't go and open the fridge and get the food, but they sure as shit know you can. You think you're not being farmed? You're not being puppeted on strings? Really? Like, I mean, Prison Planet, right? We talk about that, and I mean, I've said that, but it's not a very good way of describing this place, actually. A prison, a planet is not a very good way of describing this place at all. This is not a wandering star. That's what the word means, right? A prison realm, a hell realm, that's not a great way to describe this place. This place is a maze. It's a labyrinth. But it's a labyrinth that doesn't want you to win, and it also doesn't want you to leave. The flat earth model, like that disc picture that you see of like the ring, the ice wall, and the North Pole in the center kind of thing, that's a really good visual representation for what is going on here. I'm not saying that's what this place is or what it looks like. It's a hologram. It doesn't look like anything, but that's a great representation. Because like the ice wall is the outer wall of the little maze that you're trying to run the mercury ball through. And the center is the center. Like there's the Minotaur in the center. And you do that and you get out. Like there's the portal out. This place does not want you to get to the center, but it doesn't want you to leave either, because you're a battery. You just need to be lost. So people aren't asleep. People aren't in prison. People aren't entrapped. People are enslaved. But you're just lost. I'm lost in here. Don't think I'm not. Like it's blind leading the blind. If you think any other than that, you really need to sit down, turn all the screens off, go to a quiet place and have a really good think about this. Like, if I'm still in here, I'm lost just like you. Because if I wasn't lost, I'd probably be out. And I can say all the yummy things I want to say about, well, I got out and I came back to help you all. Like, go ahead and try and prove that to yourself. If I wasn't lost, I'd be trying to grab as many people as I could to work out how to get out with me, but I'd be trying to get out. Like, isn't that, yeah? Surely. So if I'm still here, I'm lost. And if you're watching this, you're lost. Now you can be lost and know that you're lost, and you can be lost and think you know exactly where you are. And that's the difference at the end of the day. Like, do you think you know exactly where you are and what's going on? If so, why are you still here? What's the reason? Like, don't answer me. Ask yourself. That would be a question I'd be wanting to ask myself. If you're not lost, what's going on here? Like, see it for what it is. What sort of food do you eat? What sort of water do you drink? What sort of blood type are you? Are you in an organic, human, yummy, this is how we've always been body? Or are you in one of those fallen angel, enslaver, nanobot, hybridized human bodies? Like it's a great thought experiment, and it's not a bad thing to play with, to like get the lay of the land, but that's not a way out, right? You can use those things as leverage to get you out. I've done it. I continue to do it. Don't baffle yourself with bullshit though. Like, I've looked at all that stuff. I continue to look at all that stuff because I know I'm lost. And so I'm trying to use anything like blood groups, food types, body types, astrology, eniology, the list goes on. I'm going to try and use any of them as reference points in here to try and log one against the other, to triangulate myself, to go, oh, I think I've got a better idea. I still don't know where I am relative to the whole thing, but I've got an idea of where I am relative to those things, and so I just keep building the map, building the picture. But there comes a point where those things will keep you lost. They'll keep you in here. If you think that money matters, or whether you do work for free, or whether you charge people, and that actually matters, you're lost. You're totally lost. I'm not walking through walls. I'm still eating food. I'm still using money, and I'm sure most other people are as well. So I'm still lost to some degree, but I know that shit doesn't matter. Whether a car costs $5,000 or $5 million, it's a friggin' tin can with 4 wheels and an engine. It's a con job. It doesn't cost anything. Nothing. It's fictitious. So if you're all bent out of shape about how much money or not people are making, go and talk to Jason Estes about his $70,000 med beds he's selling people. You want to bend someone out of shape about money? I'm not, because I know it doesn't matter whether you're charging someone $7, $700, $7,000, or $70,000. Like, there's a human programmed level of me that goes, oh man, like that's a con, that's a this, that's a that. But the whole thing's a con. Like, money's not real. It's a representation of time and energy that is false. It's a false representation of time and energy. So, I mean, he could charge $7 million for his bed. Who cares? It's not real. It doesn't matter. And if you're using it as anything other than a reference point to try and find where you are in the maze, you've got the wrong idea. There's nothing else you can do with it. And so what I'm trying to say is, if that thing won't help you find where you are in the maze, you better fucking drop it right now. Like right now. Or stay lost and be happy being lost, because you're holding on to the brick that's keeping you in place. Like you found a chain sticking out of the wall. You're like, I found something. The walls are all smooth. I finally found a chain. Grab hold of the chain. Never let go of it. Then you can only move in the maze as far as the chain will allow you to move. Well, great. Now you're only sort of lost. You know where you are relative to the chain, but you're never getting out of the maze because you'll never let go of the chain. So, what's the good of that? Well, you think when you die you get out? Maybe. Are you gonna put everything on black? You're gonna roll the dice on I get out when I die? Is that the plan? That's a hell of a plan. Like, it's bold. It's very bold. That's not my plan. I'm not that bold. I don't trust that for a minute, a second, a moment. I don't. Because nothing would lead me to believe that. In anything I've seen in my body or out of my body, nothing would lead me to believe you die, you get out. It's a frequency. Just like walking through walls or having to eat food or the money in your bank account is a frequency. This whole thing is about frequency fences, and they're not material. Radio waves are immaterial. Frequencies are immaterial. They're thought forms. So it's how you think about something. It's how you feel about something. It's, are you getting bent out of shape about it or not? And no problem, get angry. Get bent out of shape if it's going to help you find where you are. But if it's not, it's just another thing in here you're addicted to that's not going to get you out. And it doesn't even need to be out of the world, out of the realm, out of the, just out of the maze. Could be that the maze is just an energetic overlay sitting over the top of what's actually here, which is beautiful and natural and real, and we're just trying to get out of the maze. And when we get out of the maze, we're still here. Maybe. But sure as hell you're in a system that's trying to hold you in. And, it's free range, right? It doesn't want to kill you. Doesn't mind if you're sick. But it's still a farm. It wants you alive, for the most part. Killing you, you would need to be unuseful for it to kill you. Otherwise, it doesn't mind if you're sick as long as you're here. So, you've got to look at that. You've got to look at all the people around you. You've got to look at all the connections around you. You've got to look at how you feel towards them, how you think about them, because that's the frequency fence. That's the veil that's stopping you from seeing whether there's an actual wall in front of you or not. There's just a frequency wall in front of you. So people do all these practices and they do all this stuff and suddenly they're less lost. They're still kind of in the maze, still trying to work their way out, but they're less lost because they can see that what they thought was a wall before isn't. But I mean, what it still comes down to is what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're feeling, and what you're doing, actively working towards finding where you are relative to something with an eye to getting you out, unplugging you from the systems, detaching you from the frameworks? Or is it just trapping you in a different way? Because like a labyrinth is a prison or it is a trap if you don't know how to get out of it. But it's not actually a prison. You're not locked in there. You're just stuck in there. And maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe this is a prison and you get to the middle and you still don't get out. Or you get to the outside and you still don't get out. Like, yeah, okay. Because I'll admit, again, I'm lost in here. I'm here. I must be stuck. Otherwise, why would I be here? Would you actually be here if you weren't stuck or lost? Actually. Yeah, there's a lot of nice things in here. There are some nice things in here. Like Lolita said, get out on the lake in a canoe. Go and walk in the trees. Go in the... Yeah, it's all a hologram. It seems like everything's a hologram. But I mean, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a copy. But there are parts of the copy that remind you of something that you would call home, whether that's a beach, whether that's a forest, whether that's a desert, whether that's riding a motorbike really quickly because it feels like flying. Like there's stuff in here that reminds you of home, and you gravitate towards it or you pull yourself away from it, depending on how you're behaving. But it's not home. It's a copy. It's what the word simulation means. Simulacrum, whatever, right? It's copied from everything that's outside of here and all kind of smushed together. I might be wrong about that as well, but that's my take from everything I've seen and heard and done. And this thing isn't it. Like, it's a copy. Even if that's just the overlay that we're in and the real thing's underneath the overlay, because it seems like everything is here somehow. So just because you're enjoying something in the copy, don't get bribed into staying. Like, don't get stuck with it. Just see it for what it is. Does it actually feel like home? Well, more to the point, right? Is it home or does it feel like home? Because that's what everyone says. They hit this place, they do this thing, they go, oh, so good. It just feels like home. Not many people say, oh, I just found this place and it's just home. How many times have you heard that? I haven't heard that very often. I've heard a lot of times it feels like home. Not it is home. So if the immediate thing out of your mouth, out of your spirit is, this feels like home, it's like, that's great. Where is home then, if this feels like home? Where would you have to be for it to be home? So, once again, it's just food for thought, like all of my stuff is. It's just throwing ideas around. But the reason I throw ideas around is because I know we're lost. Some of us are less lost than others. Some of us are more lost than others. Depends on the day, depends on the moment. But the only question you want to be asking yourself is my behavior, are my actions getting me more stuck or less stuck? And if someone's trying to drag you into behavior, someone or something around you is trying to drag you into behavior that's going to get you more stuck, well, have a good look at that. So are they just completely lost and they're just thrashing around in a wet paper bag with no clue where they are or what they're doing, or what their actions are causing other people to do? Or are they just actually a part of the system designed to keep you lost? Because there's a fair bit of that going on. So it's not, there's not doom and gloom. There's no need to be black pill only. Like, there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong with black pill. There, you heard me say it. There's nothing wrong with black pill or blue pill or red pill or green pill or white pill. Like, I'm the meme that says take them all, right? Because one pill is not going to get you out. One pill won't even get you to realize where you are, what's going on. You're going to need a multivitamin. You need more than one to triangulate. You need 4, because you need 3 to triangulate and the 4th in the center to triangulate on. So there's nothing wrong with any of it if you can use it as leverage. And I really do feel that pretty much everything in here is a double-edged sword. Everything in here can keep you stuck, but it can also be used as leverage. And so you need to apply that. You don't need to do anything. I like to apply that both ways. If I'm really vibing with something and really leaning into it, I need to remind myself this is a double-edged sword, and if I lean too much into this, it'll get me more stuck. But also, if there's something in here that I'm looking at like the boogeyman that's terrible, that's just totally designed to get me more stuck, the double-edged sword of that is I can use that as leverage to get out, or to at least find where I am with a little bit more coherence. So let's all try and do a little bit less of the thrashing around in the wet paper bag. Although these last few weeks, man, it feels like that would be cathartic to just get in a wet paper bag and just go for it. But it's probably not going to get you to any better place than you are already. So it's kind of like clearing all of that and just looking at stuff really clearly. Saying like, and not even like, can I use it to get me out? Because that's almost like a personal perspective point of view, like a program, you're programming your astrology, your preferences. If you're still running with any of that stuff, it's like, can I, because there are some things that are kryptonite, right? There are some things that are, the more programs you've still got running and the more preferences you still have, some stuff's really tricky to touch. Like, it triggers off trauma training in us, and it's just hard to touch. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that, like just going, I'm still not there yet. I can't use that as leverage to get me out. I'll get lost in it. I can't use alcohol as leverage to get me out. I'll get lost in it. There's nothing wrong with admitting that if that's where you are. Food could get you out. Food could keep you lost. Like, admitting where you are is a very large part of it. Otherwise, you're just bullshitting yourself. But it's like looking at everything and knowing that everything can keep you stuck in stasis, lost in the maze, wandering, thinking like, and you can build a castle in the maze. Like, you can build an empire and be ruler of your little part of the maze. Absolutely. You're still lost in the maze and stuck. Some people tell themselves they're building the empire in the maze to help find their way out. And maybe that's true. Like if an empire can keep you stuck in the maze, an empire could help to get you out of the maze if you knew how to leverage it. So from that point of view, like there's no good or no bad. There's no don't touch that, it'll keep you stuck. It's just like, can you use it as leverage to get you out? And are you also feeding the beast while you do it? Because you want to keep that feeding down to a dull roar. Like you want to do as little of that as possible. So there are, there's a lot of left-hand path. There's a lot of that sort of stuff that those people would say, well, you can use that stuff to get you out as well. It's like, yeah, well, you can. What are you feeding while you do that? And hardcore right-hand path the same. Like there's a lot of that stuff you can use to get out as well, because you can use anything. But what are you feeding while you do it? You want to be working out how to get yourself out, because it's an individual thing. You want to be working out how to become not lost while feeding as little as possible around you. That's kind of the trick. That's that neutral middle way of doing it. Because the other ways of doing it are a go for broke. They're putting it all on red or all on black, because you're bolstering the system that keeps you distracted and trapped while you try to get yourself out of it. And so if you slip over, now you've got a level 10 boss to deal with. But if you have been starving it, you wouldn't have a level 10 boss at all. You'd be, you slip over, but you've been starving it and the boss is only at a level 2, not a level 10. So it's just different ways of coming at it, but really it comes down to, do you even know your situation? Are you making it easier for yourself or anyone else around you, or are you making it harder? Because everything's a tool to get you out, or to at least find where you are. But that means that everything is also a trick to keep you here longer. All right, much love.